In this video, I'm going to give you the secret why you can't buy a PS5 and Xbox Series X in 2021. It's not good news. The U.S. federal government has basically stuck it to gamers. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel where you get the secrets to get the console that you want. I want to read you part of this article by Polygon, which is titled PC Hardware Prices Go Up as Trump Tariffs Go Back into Effect, by Owen S. Dated January 7th, 2021. So we've been really wondering about why there's been no PlayStation Direct drops, right? Why has the new year been so bad, especially for the Xbox. I mean, we expect kind of a lot of very hard to get to PlayStation 5, but the Xbox typically is, you can find it, but we haven't been able to find really any Xbox except for the Xbox Series S that have been kind of continually available. But then, even then, we've only been able to find the Ant Online bundle, which is quite expensive. It's like over $400. I'm not saying it's a bad deal, but it's not the $300 for the straight console. And so, Asus announced that they are going to increase the price of their graphics cards to reflect the tariffs. And I guess the graphics cards, they can raise their prices because they're selling out anyways. And so the tariffs are 25% for these tech manufacturers, including the console makers. But they had a waiver up until December 31st, and then in December 31st, it expired. And right in this joint statement from console makers, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, they predicted American consumers would absorb $840 million in additional costs if tariffs on those devices went through. And they won a reprieve later in the summer, which delayed the imposition of the 25% tariffs. But they're still going on. And so, on January 12th, Asus announced that they were going to increase their price. I think it was $180. But, if it's a 25% tariff on a $500 product, that goes to about $625, $624, right? And I don't think that right now Microsoft and Sony want to pass that off to consumers, and their only response is to not ship more consoles, which I think are manufactured in Asia, probably China. At least some of their components are manufactured in China, and so they're not willing to eat that tariff cost until it's lifted, right? And so it's conceivable the Trump administration could act on this before they leave office, but they haven't yet. And it's conceivable that the Biden administration, when it takes office, will act on this, and then we'll start getting a more regular supply of PS5s and Xbox Series X and S. But I'm going to show you another article by the New York Times that indicates that maybe this 25% tariff may not go away when Joe Biden takes the presidency on the 20th. The article is by Anna Swanson of the New York Times. It's called U.S. Companies Face China Tariffs as Exclusions Expire. They don't specifically mention the consoles like the previous article that I cited, but I think it is relevant to them, and it's talking about the same issue. So lawmakers lobbied the administration to extend the waivers on December 11th. More than 70 members of Congress tried to extend the exclusions to help businesses that have been hurt by the pandemic. Right? Mr. Trump's wielded tariffs to protect some American industries. And then it goes on to say, Congress really hasn't acted on these things. I think the so here they write in the New York Times, company executives are unsure whether the incoming administration will take a different tactic, but President-elect Joseph R. Biden appears unlikely to make significant changes anytime soon. In an interview in December with the New York Times, Mr. Biden said he would conduct a full review of the U.S. trade relationship with China and consult with all allies in Asia and Europe to develop a coherent strategy before making changes. I'm not going to make any immediate moves, and the same applies to the tariffs, he said. So that basically says to me that in the foreseeable future, not just for the next 10 days until Biden is sworn in, that we may not get any supply of the PS5 or Xbox Series X, or Sony and Microsoft will announce a hike similar to what Asus announced in the price of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Neither one are good things for buyers of these consoles looking to buy one early in 2021. And it's pretty depressing news. I hope that they take some actions to extend those waivers. The 25% tax on top of everything else is ridiculous, and is kind of not coherent, since one of the major manufacturers is a U.S. company, Microsoft, right? And so we're using these tariffs to hurt not only consumers but a U.S. company, Microsoft. Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony Interactive Entertainment issued a joint statement on June 17, 2019, to get the waiver that just expired on December 31st, 2020. And, they argued that the tariff, the 25% tariff that went into effect just now, would injure consumers, video game developers, retailers, console manufacturers, and put thousands of high-value, rewarding U.S. jobs at risk and stifle innovation in their industry. And so they said that the video game industry substantially contributed to the U.S. economy, and its year-on-year growth is impressive. The U.S. video game industry generated a total revenue of $36 billion in 2017 and $43.4 billion in 2018, reflecting over 20% growth. This industry is directly and indirectly employs more than 220,000 people. 99.7% of video game companies qualify as small businesses and can be found in each of the 50 states. Many developed software for video games range across a range of platforms from PC to mobile, including video game consoles that we manufacture, and are an integral part of the booming app economy. In a single year, R3 Tech 2018, R3 Tech companies sold more than 15 million video game consoles in the U.S. alone. Together, we currently employ 8,000 people across the United States, including high-value, high-tech research and development roles and creative design, coding, and game studios. So Microsoft obviously is a Redmond, Washington-based company. Nintendo of America is also based in Redmond, Washington. Sony Interactive Entertainment, even though that's a Japanese company, Sony Interactive Entertainment, which manufactures the consoles, is actually based in California, San Mateo, California. And then they said in 2018, over 96% of video game consoles imported in the United States were made in China. The video game console supply chain has developed in China over many years of investment by our companies and our partners. It would cause significant supply chain disruption to shift sourcing entirely to the United States or a third country, and it would increase costs. Even beyond the cost of proposed tariffs, on products that are manufactured under tight margin conditions. Each video game console comprises dozens of complex components sourced from multiple countries. A change in even a single supplier must be vetted carefully to mitigate risks of product quality, unreliability, and consumer safety issues. Tariffs would significantly disrupt our company's businesses and add significant costs that would depress sales of video game consoles and the games and services that drive the profitability of this market segment. So basically, there's no way around these China tariffs, that either they have to pass the costs on to consumers or they have to stop producing, right? Or stop shipping to the United States. And I think at the moment right now, what we're experiencing is that they've stopped shipping to the United States. They've really cut their shipments because they're not making any money. They're losing money. They were probably losing money before this and hoping to make it back on the games. But with a 25% tariff that went into effect, they have to pass that cost on to consumers in the same way that the graphics card makers have already done, or they just have to stop supplying the U.S., right? And so the net effect of this tariff here is that we're just going to see less, I think, or we're going to see a price hike from both these people. So this basically protest, this letter sent to the Trump administration back in 2019, was signed by Linda Norman of the Microsoft Corporation, Devin Pritchard of Nintendo America, and Jennifer Liu of Sony Interactive Entertainment, makers of the PlayStation 5. Subscribe to the Linus Wilson channel, where we give you the secrets to get the PS5 or Xbox Series X.